Welcome to Relax and Chat, episode 59. Today we have author Bryan Stubbles. He wrote the story The Destroying Angel in It's Dark in Their Minds, Horror Anthology Volume 2. And he's written a novel, and he is a playwright. So this ought to be a pretty interesting show. How you doing today, Bryan?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I guess we'll go ahead and jump into the questions because I'm really interested in everything we need to talk about today. The
Sure.
first one I'd like to ask you about is in terms of storyline and character. In that regard, would you tell us a little bit about your novel, Madeline?
Sure. Madeline is set in northern Utah. It's a splatterpunk. I would say not extreme horror, it's splatterpunk. And Madeline is a young woman, probably in her 20s, and she has a problem. She likes to have sex with guys and kill them. She is a female serial killer, a sex murderer. She's got a lot of demons, and yeah, during the narrative, we find out the source of her demons, but that doesn't really matter to her because I would say she's perfectly happy having her demons. And she builds a group of like-minded women, and they murder the patriarchy in Utah, one sex murder at a time, or two at a time sometimes. And that's the gist of Madeline. Yeah, so if you like slashers, that sort of thing, it should appeal to you. Um, are you familiar with the author Christine Morgan? Uh,
Not right off.
okay, she's a legend in the splatterpunk community, like a pioneer. And I got a blurb from her on the book. And just so you know, Christine Morgan writes novels with titles like Sperm Jackers from Hell. Uh, so so that's where she's coming from. But she gave me like the most incredible blurb. Um, uh, the most carefree, casual, crazy cavalcade of seriously screwed up sex murders you're ever likely to experience.
Oh my, that
And so
sounds
it,
fantastic.
yeah, so I like the alliteration.
Yeah.
So if that sounds like it's something up your audience's alley, go for it. And if that's not your thing, like that's cool too.
Well,
Oh,
I got to say, I've been a little disappointed in recent years that
yeah.
just the general population or general people on social media, whatever, they seem to be just fine with pus, intestines, having sex with a cow, anything disgusting. Somehow they got the idea that disgusting belongs in the horror genre, and it doesn't. It should be in its own genre.
So
And at the same time, they have kind of frowned on sex in any kind of story. I don't know how sex became demonized, but in my personal belief and in the history of reading and watching horror stories, horror and sex go hand in hand very often. They're a good fit. And
yeah.
your story sounds fantastic just for that reason. You know, I'm a fan of Richard Lehman. If I had to have a comp for my writing, I'd
Okay.
say I'm not in his class, but I'm in his style. I,
He,
I, I
he,
will go where others won't. You know.
well, he's an influence, and I think you're right because I mean, even if you look at like Dracula, right? Like even though it's this Victorian novel, like the sex is still in there, buried in there, you know.
Oh yeah, even in the Bela Lugosi movie, the girl was quite hot and sexy and cute, you know. And I mean, let's be honest.
Now, have you ever seen the Spanish version that they shot of that movie?
No, actually, I haven't.
She okay, have you heard of it? That there was a Spanish version shot?
Something
Okay.
kind of clicks in my head,
All
but it
right.
must have been
So
a long time ago.
right. I know we're going off topic, but it's just something I want to share. Before they got into dubbing, sometimes they would shoot the same movie in different languages. And so at night, they would use the same sets, and they brought in different director, and they brought in a Spanish-speaking cast,
Uh-huh.
and they shot Dracula in Spanish at night on the same sets. And I've seen both versions. I prefer the Spanish version, but I'm gonna say what you said about the Mina's character. Her her outfit is more revealing in the Spanish version.
Oh.
So yeah, yeah. If you really like the English one, you might check out the Spanish one.
Well,
But
I was going to ask about something we might touch
sure,
on briefly, but I want to say this first.
okay.
The blurb that you were given is is awesome,
Yeah, thank
and we'll get to this. I'm going a little bit out of sequence, but we'll get to this.
you. You're
You're going
good.
to republish the book anyway. That blurb should be on the front of the book up at the top.
Right,
You really
right.
should put that on
I
there because that's a fantastic blurb.
I know, I know, and I know you mentioned like why is it out of print if it just like got published last year? It's the publisher's fault entirely that it's out of print,
Oh,
and so like I don't want to skew too negative in this interview, but never sign with Crystal Bainham. She used to run a company called Unveiling Nightmares, and then it was like Bainham Books Press, and then she disappeared from the scene. And I gave her this blurb, and she released the book without this blurb.
huh.
And that's cutting out like the target audience because Christine Morgan has a following. She's a great person, and like yeah, yeah, the publisher was just like throwing stuff to the wind, I guess, and so that told me she wasn't really serious about the book because I'm collecting the blurbs for the book,
Yeah.
and I don't know what the hell she was doing, and I
Wow.
want to say I have never seen a royalty statement from that publisher ever, even though stipulated in the contract I was supposed to get monthly statements, and then like around January, and I was collecting reviews too. I don't know if you go on TikTok, there's some really nice reviews of Madeline.
Ah.
Uh, the reviews are just as awesome as the book. So uh, like in January, the publisher just sent a group email to me and like four other authors saying, "Oh, you can have your rights back if you want them." And I mean, that's kind of like somebody saying, "I want to divorce you or break up with you," right? If you
Yeah.
want to. So I was
I
like,
tell you
okay,
what, I've had a lot of conversations with writers who have
yeah,
had bad experiences, particularly with small presses.
mm,
And that bothers me because my experience in publishing is with small presses. I started writing and I started editing, and I was signed on with Running Wild Press as an editor for them.
okay,
And then I started my own business, started out with an editing service, which still exists today. And I own RDG Books Press.
yes,
And to be quite frank, it ticks me off when these publishing houses don't want to do the work, don't care what they're doing. They're just trying to, it's a very silly idea, but it's one that exists that we'll just publish a whole bunch of books by all these different writers because we couldn't possibly write that many books. So we'll do it this way and we'll make a whole bunch of money. What a dumbass way to look at it. And
uh,
any writer that has worked with me in my press will tell you I fall in love with the stories. I am not afraid of hard work. And most of the writers will tell you I go way into developmental line and copy edit. I take everything very seriously, and that's been a personality trait my whole life. A lot of them will say, that's a lot of hard work. And every one of them will say, damn, I'm glad I did the work. You know?
yeah,
And
yeah,
it really ticks me off when any publishing house
right,
doesn't deliver to their authors. You don't have a publishing house if you don't have authors. Your author's your most important part of your
yeah,
business.
me
And
too.
yeah, that's really just kind of bothers me.
Yeah,
And I'm glad you're willing to share that experience, even
yeah.
though, as you said, it's a negative experience.
I well,
But
I mean,
the writer's journey is very important and not spoken about enough. And when you do hear about the writer's journey, you hear all the sunshine. It ain't all sunshine, is it?
And I name dropped her because I want to warn other authors. Like if she comes back, that they can listen to my testimony and say,
Mhm.
hey, maybe I should find someone else. And I want to give shout outs like to you. You've been 100% professional. You picked up my story, you published it, you paid me. That's like the most I can ask for, right? So you're great to work with. I recently had something published with a guy named L. Andrew Cooper.
Mhm.
It's a free one online, and he's good to work with. C.R. Langille at Timber Ghost Press. I've been in a couple anthologies there. Professional, great to work with, and finally Jason Harlow with Dancing Griffin Press. I've been in a couple of his anthologies. 100% professional, like yourself.
Oh.
So, the Bainham is like the bad apple in a bunch, I guess, because no, most of my experiences have been entirely positive.
You know, it's a shame, but it happens in any industry.
Right.
You named off a bunch of reputable companies, reputable, good, decent
Yeah.
publishing houses doing the work, doing right.
Yeah.
We named one that was a lousy publisher.
Yes. Yes.
Ain't it funny that most people will remember that one and won't remember the others? We need to
And
remember them all. Let's remember the publishing houses that don't do it right because they're hurting
yeah,
others.
it's human nature. So, but again, I thought, people treat me right. I'm gonna tell everybody that they treat me right.
Yeah, yeah. I'll call out a manager in a restaurant to praise the excellent service and great food just
Yeah.
as quickly as I'll complain. I mean, to me, you need to spread the good as well as the bad. All right, well, to move on, this is
Okay.
very fascinating to me. I believe you're the first person I've met that this applies to. As well as being an author, you're also a playwright. And I've got to ask you, is it hard to transition from prose to play?
Uh, you know what? I haven't. The most of the transitioning I've done is from play to prose.
Oh, has it?
Yeah, because I remember I was a playwright before the pandemic, and then the pandemic killed the theaters, and I was like, maybe I should write stories instead. So I sold my first story during the pandemic
Oh,
because I switched. So I really cannot speak on going from story to play, but I can definitely speak on going from play to story. And I look at my early stories and there's a lot of dialogue.
mhm.
There's so much dialogue because, in plays, you only have the dialogue and the actions to express what's going on with the character.
Yeah.
But in a story, you can get inside the character's head and then you describe their settings or their parents or whatever, and you can't really do that in a play. But I notice, if I'm going from play to story, there's a lot of dialogue, and then I have to remember, okay, tell the reader where we're at, or tell the reader like some other sensory thing besides dialogue tags.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, I'm a firm believer in being very minimal in dialogue tags. A lot of my editing,
Okay.
I cut out, like on any given manuscript I work on, I may have, let's say, at least 20, and in
Okay.
a novella or novel, plenty more than that. He said, she said, he said, and none of it was needed.
Yeah. 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 If you know who's talking.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, if your characters are well defined and their dialogue fits them and is well defined, just by the words they're saying, you'll know it's him. You don't need to say he said. You know he said it. Yeah.
And
All right.
and
Well,
yeah,
I think it's really fascinating. Are you going to continue writing plays in the future?
maybe
Yeah.
I've been out, like, I still get stuff produced because I there's a website called the New Play Exchange,
Mhm.
and I still have like my old plays parked on there. and then sometimes theaters or schools will find them and they'll produce them.
Cool.
But yeah, so right now the short answer is maybe, maybe, because I've got a lot of story projects, novel projects going on. I don't know if I need another play. What I would probably do is start sending my old plays out again
Yeah.
to theaters, the ones that really haven't been produced.
I
Yeah,
can
but
only imagine what it would be like to sit in an audience, to watch a play,
oh
and
yeah,
know that it was the play that I wrote. Have you actually experienced that? It has to
yeah,
be a wonderful
yeah,
feeling.
yeah. In fact, we don't know. Uh, when we write or when we create art, we don't know the effect that it's going to have on people.
Uh-huh.
But I wrote a play set near my hometown in Salt Lake City. It was set in the 50s, and it dealt with some racism and some I don't know, homophobia, I guess we'll say. And there was an audience member that like they pointed out that I was in the audience that night, but when they did the play, there was an audience member. I never met her in my life, but like she went up to me and she was actually crying. And she said, "Thank you so much for writing this play."
Oh,
And I'm like, "You're welcome." Like it was such an honor,
yeah.
such an honor. And like I said, I still don't know like who she was or anything, but my play really, really touched her, apparently.
Wow. And your story touches me. That's got to be
Yeah.
a amazing feeling.
Yeah, it
I
was
mean,
great.
an absolutely amazing feeling. And so many of us writers, we write our short stories, novellas, novels, send them out in the world. Maybe we get some sales, maybe we don't. But what does it feel like to get that firsthand feedback, to hear the applause at the end of the play, and to
Yeah.
have someone from the audience do what you just said?
Yeah.
That has
Yeah.
got to be amazing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a video on YouTube. So a lot of my plays were like really stupid comedies, and I wrote a comedy about a suicidal candy bar, and like its best friend was a ice cube, and like they're stuck on like a car dashboard, and like then the candy bar doesn't want to leave because the candy bar wants to die, and it's like,
Oh,
oh son, take me and stuff. But they taped it. It was in Seattle, so like I didn't attend it, but they taped it, and yeah, every once in a while, maybe like once a year, I'll rewatch it because they had these wonderful like Ice Cube and candy bar costumes on the actresses, and it was two actresses that played it. It's not gender specific because it's a candy bar and an ice cube,
uh,
but they're like just yeah, hearing the audience laugh at like really stupid jokes about candy bar suicide really really it kind of brightens my day.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like a kind of a serious topic, but like in a ridiculous, like surreal situation.
Oh, now on Amazon, I did see that Madeline is temporarily out of print.
Yes.
Very much looking forward to reading that. Uh, I think I did send you an invitation to consider my press. Take a look at my website,
Yeah.
see what you think. Um,
Thank you.
Another thing that caught my attention that I believe is still in print on Amazon,
Yes.
and because it is very fascinating to me, you're the first playwright I've had on the show.
Okay.
And if you would you tell us a little bit about Death Sings in the Shadows?
Oh, Death Sings in the Shadows. What an experience. So I'm a huge fan of history and I'm a huge fan of the world. And so the setting for Death Sings in the Shadows is Liberia during World War II. And if you know your history, Liberia was founded by freed American slaves or like free um, African Americans who then tried to colonize a country in West Africa where there were already people living, and so there were already 16 tribes in Liberia, and then they tried to take like their like American like English and Christianity and kind of push it on everybody else. So like the capital of Liberia is Monrovia, named after James Monroe. They don't have states, they have counties, and one county is Maryland County because those settlers came from Maryland. Um, it's an interesting dynamic. I mean, it's different now, but like in World War II, they call them Americo-Liberians were in charge. So it was like 5% of the population running the other 95%.
Uh-huh.
And they spoke English, they were Christian, and they traced their roots back to the States. And during World War II, the Americans needed an air base there and some naval facilities. So you could fly to like Liberia, then go fly into Europe. And a lot of the soldiers that they sent to Liberia were African American. And I think the most famous one would be Ossie Davis. You remember the actor Ossie Davis?
Uh-huh.
He was stationed in Liberia during World War II. And so I thought that was like kind of like a perfect setup for like conflict because you have like native Liberians and then you have the Americo Liberians. They're several generations removed from the States, and then you've got Americans that just showed up like yesterday. So the main story is it's a GI's girlfriend who was a nurse. I wrote this a while ago, so I have to remember it. And it's like a noir. It's like a hard boiled, almost like a film noir. And his girlfriend ends up dead, and he has to navigate these different worlds. So he has to, the American military world, and then the Americo-Liberian like elite world, and then the native Liberians. He has to go through these different worlds to get answers as to what happened to his woman.
Mhm. Oh,
And
that
it
sounds
was
cool.
it yeah, it's never had a full production. It had a really good reading at the Babcock Theater in Salt Lake City, which that was so much fun putting that on Utah. then and the main character is from Utah, so they give him the nickname Brigham,
Mhm.
which is hilarious. And then yeah, that Broadway Play Publishing, which is a pretty prestigious publishing company,
Uh-huh.
they picked it up, so they're the publishers of that. And I think with play publishing, you would make money if somebody licenses the play, right?
Uh-huh.
But it's never had a full production, and I don't know if it ever will. But I like
Yeah.
it.
Oh, never give up, never say never.
Yeah,
I've got a
yeah.
small show with a pretty much small audience
Okay.
compared to some of the mega shows on YouTube. And but it doesn't take 5,000 people in the audience. It takes
Right.
one person who's looking for a unique play that he wants to produce. Boom, it's
Yeah.
up. You never know. Let me know if that happens.
Yeah, right. And also, I think you said this is episode 59.
Yes.
Yeah, so you're showing up regularly and putting in the work on your YouTube channel.
Yeah, and this is actually what I do for fun on the side. My
Right.
main
Yeah.
work is running the publishing house, and I'm busting my tail
Nice.
over there. I do this because I absolutely love chatting with authors and learning. I love to learn. I study all the time, and it's so fascinating to me when I meet someone who is a writer but has a twist in it. In your case, you're a
Okay.
playwright, and it's like, wow, what would it be like to write a play, and what would it be like to sit in the audience? And I would never know this had I not had the good fortune of meeting you, and it's freaking awesome. I love it.
And I'm open if you want to do like a show that's just about plays and playwriting, and it doesn't have to be about my stuff, but just like theater in general and
Yeah,
plays. I'd be happy to sit down with you for another 40 minutes and talk
yeah.
theater and plays.
Oh, who knows? One day I may approach you and ask you to do a show where you and I write a play live on the show.
Yeah, a 10-minute play. You know, there, those are popular. The in like festivals, they'll have like a night of like 10-minute plays.
We could do a play like, that daggone human so clumsy said the orange juice that was just spilt, and the poor egg is being showered. We could do that. If you could do a candy bar on a dashboard, we can do
Yeah,
anything.
yeah. It was like breakfast apocalypse.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm sure the audience will want this information, and I do put pertinent things down in the description, but I share this across my platform, and some of the places that I put it, they don't see the YouTube description. So if
Okay.
you'd be willing to, please share your website, social media contact, so that someone who sees this show could say, "Ooh, hey, Bryan, what's up with this?" Your fans can reach out to you.
All right. Well, social media these days, I'm only using like three. So I'm on Facebook, just Bryan Stubbles. BryanStubbles. I think I'm the only one in the world with that name. So, so you can find me there. Twitter, I'm sometimes on Twitter. I'm at B Stubbles on Twitter. And then recently I've gotten into TikTok and I'm at Writer Stubbles on TikTok.
Oh, cool, cool.
That's where I'm
That
at.
everybody
Yeah,
have a way to reach you.
what what I'd like to do is that free story that I mentioned earlier, that horrific scribes or horrific scribblings, put it online. Maybe afterwards I can give you the link and you could put it on the video description or where you're sharing this, and then the people could read a free story from myself.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
that would be fantastic. Send me the link and I'll put it in there for
okay,
sure.
yeah, I'll do that. And
Yeah, that'd be
that
awesome.
one's set in Indonesia, which is a lot of fun. So,
Wow, yeah.
yeah.
I think most readers are pretty happy to get a free story.
Right, and it's in a collection of free stories based on folk tales from around the world. So you're
Yeah.
not just getting my free story, you're getting maybe like 10.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, yeah,
In
I'll
our
do that. That'll
conversation,
be great.
just during our conversation, it's very apparent that your stories are fun to read. And yeah, I'll definitely put a link in the description if you send it to me. That'd be awesome.
Sure, sure.
Yeah. Now I have tried to put my what's the word? Put my hat in the kettle or whatever they call it. I own a publishing house. Madeline sounds like a great story. I know you've got other houses reading it. No problem. But
So
keep
like I
in
said,
mind, but if you work with my press, we work hard, but we make it the very absolute best that it can be. That's our number one goal in my press, period.
you'll,
You can ask any
you'll
author I've worked with.
well, I've worked with you, so I know.
Yeah. So in all honesty, though, if you publish with another press, you're an author. You take the best deal you can find. Sometimes I am the best deal. Sometimes I'm not. You do your thing. It's your journey. However, please let me know when Madeline's released if I don't know, because I'm very
Okay.
eager to read it. I'm extremely
Okay.
eager to check that one out. It sounds fun.
Trust me, everybody and their mom will know when it's republished.
Yeah, it sounds
Yeah,
freaking awesome. It does. And I would love to read that one. And I don't know if you'll be able to use the same cover or have to create a new
oh,
cover,
okay. So
how that works.
yeah, I can tell you about that. Oh, we've got like 7 minutes. Yeah, she had an artist. She commissioned an artist to make the cover,
Mhm.
um, not AI. Um, really good artist, and but the publisher made me buy the cover after she cut me loose.
Huh.
Yeah, I said, can you send the files, the EPUB files? Can you send this? Yeah, blah blah. Okay, okay. Can you send me the cover? And she said, no, the cover will cost you $30.
Okay.
Yeah, so I paid it, but I I know the artist personally. Her name's Christy Aldridge.
Uh-huh.
She does great work, and she's a writer herself. You might want to try to get her on your show, because then you
Oh,
would be talking to a writer and a cover artist for
cool.
horror.
Yeah.
And
I have
maybe
heard of her. Isn't she? Is she predominantly on Facebook?
Yeah, she's big on Facebook. I think she's based in like Alabama.
Mm.
But no, she's really cool to work with. So I contacted her, and I like the cover that she made because it's got like Madeline with like some guy's head with half his face cut off,
Uh-huh.
and but I wanted a different look for the republish, and I wanted to go with something warmer. So it's the same picture, but like orange and yellow tones. So
Huh.
it's more like a sunset,
Uh-huh.
also it could be like, going to hell, right?
Ha
So yeah, so about the cover, yeah, she's already done the new cover, and it'll hopefully whenever it's republished, we'll use that. And
Oh,
like I
fantastic.
said, yeah, Christy Aldridge, I just want to, give her a shout out if anybody's looking for a cover artist because she's reasonable and very professional and very good art.
Awesome. And it's hard to find a real human artist and
Oh
who doesn't
gosh.
screw around with garbage
Right.
AI.
No,
I
no,
hate
no,
AI.
no AI slop coming from
Yeah.
her.
And she sounds wonderful. And if I can find a way to reach out to her, my publishing house will use many artists over the years, you know?
Yeah. No, you know what? I can reach out to her and tell her about you, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
An introduction of sorts. That sounds great.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, cool.
All right. Well, we are running out of time, so I'm going to go ahead and call this episode done. Such a fascinating and enjoyable conversation. Thank you
It's an absolute
so
pleasure.
much.
Thank
I've had a ball. I mean, so fascinating. And I love, love, love hearing about your experience of being in the audience, seeing your play in action, and having someone in the audience come up to you. That has got to be, oh, for me, that would be a lifetime joy far beyond any amount of money. That
I'll
for me, that would be a big deal.
I'll I'll, I'll always remember it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna forget that. It was really really lovely
Oh
experience.
man, that's just super awesome. To the audience, an absolute joy to speak with Bryan Stubbles. I hope you've enjoyed this show. I think it's been a ball. I can't wait to read Madeline in any way that I get to read her, however that turns out.
Sure, sure,
But it
yeah.
sounds fantastic. Uh, Episode 59 of Relax and Chat now must come to an end. I sure hope I'll see you in the next one. I hope everybody has a great day. Take care, everyone.
Bye bye.